Hi guys,
What's
welcome
up?
to our new channel.
Welcome.
If you don't know us already, my name's Christine.
I'm Zach.
We are going to be talking about relationships. I think that's pretty much how we're going to start this. And if anything else evolves from it, then it will be. But for now, we're going to focus on relationship topics.
Our passion is just seeing and helping couples just thrive.
Right.
And potential couples too, meeting with people that maybe aren't in a relationship yet either. So,
Or aren't married yet.
yeah, aren't married, I guess, in a relationship.
At least in a relationship. This is for you. If you're in a relationship, we're talking to you.
That's it.
A little background on us is if we've been married for about almost 10 years. We got married when we were 22.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't gone through 10 years for nothing. We have had lots of very high highs and some lows. We won't call them low lows. We've never cheated on each other, or he's still alive and I'm still alive. So, but there's been really ups and downs through our relationship.
Just like any relationship.
Just like any relationship. So we want to be really real here, and we want to be able to talk about pretty much anything.
Yeah, it's open to anything. We have a passion to seeing people just be better. And so we want to help you potentially achieve that.
Be better together. Let's see. So I started off on social media asking if you guys had any relationship questions. We read through all of them, and most of them really had to tie back to communication. I think that that's something that we still always struggle with. I don't think it's something that you will ever say that you've got it perfect.
You don't mean I'm perfect with that?
No. Not quite. I think that a really important thing, if you haven't already done this, is figure out what your love language is. Example, his love language is touch, and mine
Touch.
is talking. What's a talking one?
The gift of gab.
I like to talk things out. That's my love language, and he likes touch. And it doesn't mean it has to go to that place where it's like I'm only talking about the bedroom. I'm talking about just being loving towards him and affectionate towards him, and just letting him know that I'm here, that I'm, he needs that touch. And that way he'll listen to me. If I don't do that, and I noticed that before, because of course it would have to be that I am a person who doesn't like to be touched. I don't like to touch. I'm not a big hugger. I'm getting better with it, but I've just never been a touchy person. So of course he would be a man who has to be touched. So communication, obviously in the beginning of our relationship, was on opposite ends, because we would always be trying to communicate. But if he doesn't have what he needs and I don't have what I need, because he would just be like, I don't want to talk forever, Christine. I don't want to hear this. Or I just felt like he was shutting me out. We both had a wall up to each other.
It goes back to understanding the different love languages. How does the person you're trying to communicate? That way you can make sure you're doing it in a way that they can receive it.
Now, you might have a relationship where the man plays a lot of video games, or maybe the woman's on her phone all the time. So in those type of situations, I think what we really have to narrow in is that if you're in a relationship, you guys are the most important thing to each other, right? Or else maybe you guys shouldn't be together. Let's just put that first, right? And the reason why I say that is because we have so many things in our life that are always going to distract us. If it's not a phone or a video game or a TV or your children or parents or in-laws or whatever it might be that have a big part in your life and distract you from your relationship, you really have to make sure that you're putting a very big effort in communicating. The thing is, it's all by habit and practice that you're able to communicate better. So if I know that I'm really sucking because I have my phone in my hands all the time, and my significant other feels like he is neglected, then I need to take that in consideration. Our relationship is more important than this phone.
The question of how to be an effective communicator, really it comes down to making sure, like we just discussed, that you're communicating in a way that the person can understand and the person's ready to receive what you're communicating. So we go through this all the time, where maybe there's a time where I really want to say something, but she's just not in that place where she can receive it. She maybe just was super distracted with the kids. Maybe she just had that. So I'm trying to have a discussion about something else, And in doing so, I'm triggering something in emotions that she just was experiencing. And
That's true.
in doing so, we are not going to communicate. We're not going to connect. Rather, I'm going to take that personal, the way that she's responding to me, which has nothing to do with me. And then I'm going to now escalate the situation. And this happens more often than we'd like. So it happens to everybody.
It does.
But being able to recognize those things, being able to step back and say, maybe we need to take a break for a second and we can talk about this later.
Yeah. And you know what? That used to not be okay with Zach. Let's just say, for example, I am the type of person where I can argue about something and then just be like, you know, it's not a big, in my head, I'll say, this isn't a big deal. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm done. I don't want to talk about
And
this.
she moves on like it never happened.
He, on the other hand, is like total opposite. We need to talk about it. If it started at 5 p.m., we're going to 5 a.m. to talk about it.
Only if she doesn't want to move forward.
So, I guess it goes back to...
Don't let the sun go down on your anger.
Right. So that is really important. And if that is one thing that you can take, is that don't leave a situation and flee. If you get mad about something with your significant other, don't flee from the situation, even if it's something that you've seen your parents do. If it's seen something that you've done in the past, something that you're just accustomed to do is running away from a situation. Say, you know, there's a time though, don't get me wrong, there's a time to just say, I need a minute. Let me breathe, because some things can really hurt someone. And another video that we're going to do is about words. Words are very powerful, and sometimes the words we use towards each other are very detrimental to the relationship, and a lot of times you can't take those words back. So we're going to do something on that as well. But sometimes we say mean things to each other, and then the other person really gets hurt, and they want to step out of that situation to really calm themselves. And I agree, sometimes people just need that. I'm the same type of person. If we get into something that's ever heated in the past, I have needed to say, I need a minute. And in the beginning, he was not always okay with saying, okay, I'll give you a minute. He was like, where are you going? We're talking about this right now. We're going to do this. So again, very, very different styles and also that type of communication. But I realized as time went on, okay, and he realized as well, she needs a minute. And I thought, okay, he needs to talk things completely through, and he also needs to be asked how he feels, which is something sometimes guys don't regularly give up, is how they feel about things. They can say, you did this, and this, and they can keep on going on about what actions happened, but they don't actually internalize how that made them feel. And the one who's the softer one in the relationship needs to be able to say, how are you feeling about this? Let's just take a minute back.
And that used to drive me crazy. Like, especially if I was upset, how am I feeling, or whatever it was, that would just drive me up the wall. But as I would calm down, or as I would start to really think about it and understood she was coming from a place where she really wanted to understand how I felt,
right,
and how it made me feel, so that she could not maybe try to do that again, then it helped me open up. And still to this day, 10 plus years later, I'm not the best at opening up and giving my feelings, but her stepping back and asking me that sometimes opens me up.
Right.
Sometimes it takes a little nudging.
Right.
But I eventually get there.
Yeah, because we love each other so much, and I think at the end of the day, you got to look at this as a long-term thing. This is your person. This is who you wanted to spend the rest of your life with, right? So if you got to take yourself out of this one little situation here, and it might be something that always comes up, but trust me, if you are able to have patience and to figure out how to diffuse and see what's going on outside of what this little topic might be, and just sit back and say, what's happening? I feel like you're so much more upset than you would be at this thing, or same thing with me. And we really have to just dial it down so that we're able to be calm and come from a place where we're really thoughtful about what is really hurting us and what is really bringing out all these emotions in mostly me. But also you, even though you don't externally show that.
I think it really comes down to understanding how the other person you're communicating with communicates.
Yes.
Putting yourself in the mindset to communicate with that person. And then sometimes it's not about you, right? A lot of times we always want to make things about us, but at the end of the day, it's not. It's about making the other person feel their best.
Right. We should always make each other better.
Yeah, it's about bettering the other person.
Right.
And helping them to become their best, because after all, that's why you're with that person, right?
Right.
You always want to see the person you're with better tomorrow than they were today, better next year than they were this year. And part of doing that is helping them to become a better communicator as well.
Right.
So being able to step back and do that and understand this situation I'm talking about right now, it may feel like a mountain, but it's really a molehill, you know? So let's take the steps to get through it and not make it bigger than it needs to be. The other big part of communication, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? So what's your word for the
Mine is listen.
So the biggest part of communication is listening to what the other person has to say. Not listening with the intent to respond, but listening with the intent to understand and really internalize it, so that way you can meet them and communicate effectively with them. So there's so much we could say about communication. You could spend their whole life getting to know it better. We're not perfect. I assume that you're not either. Really, it's just about taking one step at a time to be a little better.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, if there's any topics that you want us to talk on, give tips on, please let us know. And don't forget to subscribe. This is
that little button down there or up there, wherever it's at.
He doesn't get on YouTube.
I'm not a social media person
at all. So anyways, I hope this blesses you, and have a wonderful day.
Peace.
Bye.